So check this out. Just give it a second while it boots up. You know it's good when it presents you with a text like that. Here it comes. Oh yeah. Now you might be wondering what the heck this is all about. And why am I playing Games Factory games? Well, for that I'll need to take you back to 2002 in Finland when indie games as you know them now were quite different. Because basically this one was made by a guy called Mika with, well, you see there, Blue Skull Entertainment. Sadly his homepage is down. And he made a couple of Games Factory based shoot 'em ups for the PC, of course, and they were quite something. Unique in their own right, shall I say. And as edgy as the name is, Dark War 2, yes, it's a sequel, but this one was more well known of the two, and I played it quite a bit when I was a young'un, and indeed 2002. So let me just show you what it's about, because you can't find a damn thing about these games on the internet. I mean, there's a couple of these old-timey pages where these games were uploaded and they're still up, basically running on, there's zombies feeding on ad revenue instead of brains, so they're easy to come by, but they're just a little forgotten, and I hate to see that happen, so I'm gonna do my due diligence in archiving video games, and it's quite something. So yeah, you have these few stages here. It's trying to give you a bit of a tactical view. Baller MIDI music's on the background. You get to purchase your weapons, and there's a nice little variety of them. Of course, the models here, they're done in this blobby-like, what's it called? Gradient-like little blocks, pseudo 3D thing that I never quite liked. And the first one was completely sprite-based, which I was a big fan of, so I might be covering that at some point too. So yeah, you have your cavalcade of shotguns here, double-barrel automatic. Then you got your submachine guns, assault rifles, laser rifles, grenade rifles, railguns, flamers, and then your nades. And you always start with the semi-automatic as well as a chainsword in true Space Marine fashion. But I'll be grabbing a submachine gun, and let's go for this one. So you can tell it's one of these side-scroller shoot-em-ups. Where you just fight waves full of enemies and try to make it forward. And let me try toning the volume down just a teensy bit, because it is incredibly loud. These were the games from better days. There was no Unity store to buy your preset models. This was all handcrafted, baby. I assume the music was too, because I just haven't heard it anywhere else. Could be well stolen. I mean, no one gave a hoot back then, and still probably doesn't. And surprisingly, this game has aged quite well. You just kill everything on a room and move on to the next one, and it does have two-player functions as well, which made for quite the blast when I used to play it with friends way back when. You can see nice little detailed death animations there. Sometimes something special going, like a limb blowing off. But yeah, mostly the guy who made these games had a thing with aliens and various methods of vivisection with them, mostly with firearms. You can see a bit of environmental hazard there, and every time the music loops, it makes a little kind of freezes for a second as it replays it. I imagine that was a limitation of the Games Factory, and for those who don't know what it's about, the Games Factory was this piece of software with all these assets, and basically it's a pre-built engine, much like I imagine there was the FPS creator, and my god, that was a long time ago too. So yeah, you had to use these and whipped up the models, and they're based on, of course, the first game's enemies. Strange of me to cover the second game before that one, but hey, whatever. Yeah, we collect money between waves, tracks kills there, and sometimes you run into anomalies. I do remember this kind of stuff happening even when the game was fairly new. But yeah, I'm not sure. It might be just a modern OS screwing up with it. Surprised to see that this game still actually runs without any sort of problems. Okay, they keep getting stuck, and here's our chainsword indeed. And that's the first mission complete. There's not much else to the game really, but let's keep it going for a little bit, because I know there was some semblance of enemy variety. Sold a shotgun there to buy a assault rifle. Dude had a serious hatred for spacebars and weapon names. Apparently not. Okay. So it's got two game modes. Basically this kind of campaign mode where you just click on the spot on the map. It'll generate a stage for you. I think, no, it can't be procedurally generated, but there's a nice little variety of hills, environmental hazards and stuff that you'll have to run through to butcher these bastards. It gets old fast, granted, but I mean, it still holds up. I mean, wow, I keep saying that I mean here, don't I? Where has the market gone for these kind of games? I could seriously play something like this with a modern twist. I guess, maybe I haven't played any, but only Trine springs to mind really, and that's only because it's a side-scrolling puzzle platformer. Whereas here, the focus is from puzzles to guns, really. You have your key for a crouching as well somewhere, I believe. There we go. If you want a bit of a tactical advantage like that. You see the beautiful backgrounds here. It's actually quite cool. With some blocky gradient going on. Don't mind. Oh wow. Love the sound button on this gun. But yeah, you can tell a lot of love and effort went into this. And I appreciate that, I do. And yeah, there is a nostalgia boner to be had as well. Probably not for the most, because, you know, early 2Ks, Finnish indie games probably isn't a popular scene anywhere in the world. But heck, if I could make anything into a thing, it would be this. And heck yes, it gives us the italics congratulating us on our success. How about we whip through these stages, because I do remember there might have been a boss coming as well. Hopefully we can pack a railgun for that. Okay, that was easy. Oh yeah, look at him. He's flying. As far as technicalities go, the only problem I'm having with it right now is the window size. I've actually rescaled it for this video, and pardon me the cursors here because it's hard to move it elsewhere. Might have made it disappear now. I think it runs by 640 to something resolution, and it isn't scalable. So it's basically locked into this extremely small window inside a window on my monitor. Probably ways to finagle that into looking a bit better, but hey, gameplay over graphics, man. Doesn't seem to show us the amount of money we're getting, but hey, small complaints. I found that when it comes to video games, since it's been basically a lifelong hobby, sometimes going back to the old ones and replaying them, it's a nice, refreshing perspective. And I'm surprised to admit that this one actually kind of holds up. I mean, I can see why I played this. Makes me think if there's like a Kickstarter that, or something that I've missed, maybe I could get this guy back into making games. Wouldn't that be baller? So it seems like these flying guys aren't doing much. I remember in the first game they actually dropped bombs on you. This was another easy mission, I can appreciate that. My old and frail age, where my reflexes aren't as quick as they used to be. Of course we can save and load, but let's see if we can stack up on some better weapons. Double barrel sounds pretty cool. Not the most expensive one, and why not grab a nade as well to try those out? Yeah, we have 3 slots for nades only. Okay, so this shoots the same thing but twice before you have to reload it. I could see this being worse than the actual shotgun. Health isn't replenishable between screens, so you always have to make it through with just one go. Which makes me think of modern days regenerating health issues. Oh wow, there's the nade. And the delicious stock sound explosions. I mean, fuck me, this was creative. Still is. These guys look like they got rejected from Doom. Getting rich out of these dudes. Blew his arm off. So, yeah, while we're romping through this stage, the Finnish in this game scene, God, what a mouthful! In the game scene was quite blossoming in the late 90s and early 2000s. Granted, I was between ages of 8 to 12 when these were all the fuss, but I remember we had a lot of internet pages. Well, let me take it a little back here. There's basically this magazine for computers that was basic. Well, I keep saying the basically now. It was very dominant and pretty much the only one on the market, so it had a monopoly. And one of the subscriber benefits to this magazine was the capability to actually create your own website with their own service, which a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say fell for, because it was an interesting feature back then, before your social media booms. And oh god, impaled ourselves there. Death on the first screen, that's pretty ruthless, but seems like the enemies can do the same thing. So, yeah, so I was saying, oh, new stage, cool. These home pages for everyone, a lot of people uploaded games, and of course there was some cheeky music file sharing before that became an issue. But yeah, I just remember a lot of these games being up there by their creators, and sadly all of those pages were shut down some years ago. So now they basically exist in this void of old Finnish game websites where they still uploaded to this day. Like, let's take this Dark War 2, you can find it easily enough by just googling it. Probably the first link you find is leading to this. Oh, yeah, there's the spooky enemy. I'd forgotten about this one. Some weapons do have enough knockback to keep them at bay infinitely. And again, as I mentioned, the blobby, radiant design. I guess that was all the craze as well. But yeah, mostly shoot 'em ups and platformers were the thing that came out. Games like, if you are familiar with the kind of action variant of Worms, the Liero games, those were Finnish. A lot of those games, we also had a lot of these basically cave flying shoot 'em up games where you just control something that flies around and you blast your friends with them in pre-generated levels. A lot of Soldat clones as well, for those who remember that. But yeah, mostly the morbid young boy's curiosity with guns type of genre. Chop the skeletons. I mean, obvious Space Marine influence here. Man, these games were brave. They weren't afraid of anything. Mission complete. That's real cool. I like the purple aesthetic of this map. Reminds me of, these days, maybe Terraria's Corruption for one. And back at this hellhole where we just died. Might be a difficulty ramp up since there's so many enemies spawning now. Yeah, here we see the level design kicking up a notch. The first Dark War had an abundance of platforming focused levels, really. where the danger was more on the level than the enemies themselves. Sometimes when you cross these slopes they give you a bit of momentum, or rather have you maintain your momentum, so you have to be a little careful about how you jump. I might be just getting dumpstered here, but let's try some nades. That's nice. I love the sound effects. I mean, I know they're just basically freebie sounds, as it says on the readme file for the game, but it works. It's a good game in its kind of old glory. And there's the frame skip with the music's loading up. Notice the cursor there. Yeah, I mean, that's a cool scene, you can't deny that. And that's something I'd like to see out of today's indie games, and that pretty much does it for me now. Nothing but a short little showcase of... Oh, do we get to see it again? We do indeed. Blue Skulls, Dark War 2. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye!